Mrangiri's case, as it continues, it discloses a lot of things. It discloses a lot of things. As the case goes on, the more disclosure that are coming up. In this episode, I'm coming to start to believe that he could be part of a militia. He could be part of a militia. I don't know who sponsored that militia. And as I said in an earlier recording, that in the Kenya Police Service, the general duties, when things fall apart and they fall on you, everybody goes away. But APs try to, if you touch an AP at the far end of Todenyang, another AP who does not know him or her, all the way in Lunga Lunga, will fight that war as if it is his or her personal war. That is how APs are. But in the general duties, when things fall apart, and it happens that they fall apart on you, everybody goes against you, and you die your own death. You die your own death. So that is, it is also good to have that background. It's also good to have that background, because if you see the case of Mukwana in Central Police Station, he is an ex-AP, and when things went bad for him, the APs are annoyed that the person who was sent there, the person who went to the general duties planned and left things for him. No, in general duty, when things happen, everybody, if you are 360 people, everybody goes to his direction. A circle has 360 direction, and everybody, it is God save me. So that, and they also wish that somebody else is caught, because if you see the psychology of predators in the forest, once they catch one antelope, they leave all the others. So if you are an antelope, you wish another antelope is caught so that attention is defrayed from you. So that is, in brief, that is what I wanted to pass in today's episode. Mrangiri belonged to a group that is called Alpha Mike. Alpha Mike, and Alpha Mike in phonetic terms, that is AM, because they start with all alphabet starts with A and ends with Z, isn't it? So it is Alpha Bravo Charlie Delta Echo Foxtrot Golf Hotel. It continues that way until X-Ray Yankee Zulu. So when you hear Alpha Mike, it means AM, and AM. As of now, I don't know what AM stands for, but I suspect A stands for anti. So M could be anti-motor, anti-whatever, but it is anti-something. Or is it anti-mugging? I don't know. But it is anti-something. The team is just like GSU. GSU are called Golf Sierra Uniform. Anti-stock theft are called Alpha Sierra Tango Uniform. So those phonetic sayings. So Alpha Mike is it anti-mugging or whatever? It could be something like that. Maybe in future we will know. So I'm trying to say, is this AM or Alpha Mike? Is it a militia? Is it a militia answerable informally to somebody? Evidence from the former DCIO Central indicates it could be something like that. Although general duty police officers akikuruka haizi kukuruka tile kuambia what he does is he keeps himself safe from you. For example, I would say that I caught those story halfway. I did get the early ones, but what I understand is that the then OCS Central had already said that under the command of Central Police Station, Alpha Mike was not under them. And then you find the OCPD also said Alpha Mike is not under them. You find out the DCIO is saying Alpha Mike is not under them. In the inquest of Alex, I'm sure, I suspect, let me not be very sure, it is possible that the office of the sergeant at arm will also be called upon to give evidence on his MASAI, on MASAI's death. And the way things are going, because most of the, okay, sergeant at arms, it's not strictly police work only. I remember one time there was a military major who was the sergeant at arms. But then if the sergeant at arms office come and disowns him, Murangiri, then he's gone. He's gone. Mambo yake kwisha. He has nothing to say. But already all departments, to my understanding, all departments have said that they don't deal with Alpha Mike. But then if you look at the AM and you look at Murangiri's pictures that time, he was in control of a police Land Cruiser. He was even sitting in the front seat and whatever. But then I want the APs to understand, the APs who are converted into general duties. I want them to understand, and I also want the APs who are not converted also to understand that that is how life is in general duties. You are just too many who are converted to general duties that you didn't go to Kiganjo for conversion course. Things there are bad. Ukiona tumefika pali tumefika, things happen bad to you. People keep distance. If you end up being sacked, you end up being sacked. If you end up being back to the police service, they say tulijua tu utashinda case and whatever. That is why in every interdiction of a general duty police officer, after you win the case, you never work in the very same station you used to work, because you'll be looking at the people and remembering how they used to run away from him. So that one, I thought it was good to say so. So back to the question is Alpha Mike a militia answerable informally to some powers? By saying that it was or is informal, I mean that it could be either both or neither. It could be either both informal and formal, and it could also be neither within the structures of the police service, within the National Police Service chain of command. What am I saying? In English, it's a bit confusing what I've just said, that it could be formal, or it could be informal, or it could be both formal and informal. Let me start with saying that it could be informal. If you remember, during Gumo's time, Gumo, when he used to say Kang Gum, there was a civilian, I think he was called the Hotio. I think he was called the Hotio, who beat up Reverend Joya outside the parliament. Those were just a team of civilians, and you could see the way he was handling the AP. If you can replay that video, find that Reverend Joya is on the ground, and he goes to the AP, takes out the baton and starts beating that person in the presence of the AP. That is a civilian completely doing police work in the presence and knowledge of the police, and the police cannot do anything because the Hotio was under Kangumu, and there was and if any police officer would have complained, he would cease being a police. That is the informal. Now formal, these squads, kina wreck company, kina robbery, kina whatever, Kwekwe squad and whatever, those are the formal groups. And then the informal, both informal and formal, it's that especially during Moi's time, we used to have some people belonging to a certain tribe. I am not mentioned which tribe it is, but they would form their own type of kwekwe or flying squad or something that used only to handle political issues. That is the group that I can now say that it is both formal and informal. The DCIO or any other officer who is answering things formally, most likely is aware of such a team or teams. When the DCIO was in the court and was being asked questions, most likely he knows that group and whatever, and he will only answer for things which are formal. He most likely is aware of such groups. That is why they act with impunity and nothing happens to them. But when things fall apart, uh, they are the casualties, because the formal teams like the DCI may disown them. And why am I saying they may disown them? You have heard, and I'm repeating here for the second time, the OCS said none of that group was under me. OCPD said none. The DCI said none. Maybe the sergeant at arm will also say none. And so these people will be that way. But you find that Murangiri himself says that he does not even say where he used to work or anything. He says he worked in Alpha Mike and he was seconded to the OCS Central Police Station. My message is such teams. My message is that we have such teams in Kenya, and if you are in one of those teams from today, from the time you are watching this video, just like obeying an unlawful command, you will be on your own should things start being hot. So being a member of an informal team, even if you are a former police officer, under the circumstances that I've just said, you'll find that you are on your own. Murangiri insists that he was a member of Alpha Mike, and he insists that Alpha Mike was working both under the OCS and the OCPD, and you have heard both the OCPD and the OCS have disowned him. Both have disowned Alpha Mike. Even the DCIO has disowned Alpha Mike. So as I keep on saying that if at all anything, his case may be only saved by Sergeant at Arms. If Sergeant at Arms says that he's aware and approved or anything, then maybe. But if the Sergeant at Arms is a police officer, because at one time we had a military man as the Sergeant at Arms. If we have a police officer as a Sergeant at Arms, even in the army, chances there are that Alpha Mike has been disowned. The evidence want to say that it was possible that Rex MASAI was shot in the thigh. Remember, Ruto was telling police to shoot in the leg. From a firearm that is not a police gun. It is quite possible that he was shot by a firearm that was not in the police arm. The guy was in civilian had a gun and unlicensed. So it is possible that it will be found that the bullet that killed Rex MASAI was from a civilian or even an informal member of AM, but using a gun that is not licensed. Are you getting what I'm trying to think? It is that maybe somebody came up with an idea that is it Chinua Achebe who said that when birds started flying uh, without no when farmers learned how to shoot without missing birds, the birds learned how to fly without flopping. I'm trying to suggest that it is possible that this informal team that infiltrated the security and so on were had already, some things happen to people today, and tomorrow other people learn from the mistakes of today. So it is quite possible that today, I mean, in the past, for forensic evidence used to give forensic evidence used to come up with a real gun that shot that person. Because if you took one gun from the armory and it is registered in your name, and then it is later said that it is your gun that shot Rex MASAI, then you are in a hot soup. So I think this informal team, let me not call Alpha Mike as an informal team, but any informal team that may have been involved were using such guns which are not registered anywhere, so that when there is a forensic examination to determine which firearm was used in killing so and so, it cannot be determined that officer constable A or corporal B or sergeant C, senior sergeant E or inspector F. There is no evidence to show that such officers are the ones who had that firearm. So we are moving into a dangerous situation where officers are becoming crooks, if I may say so. You and other members of the informal groups will face the music should such things. What I was trying to say here is that should you uh, accept to be the purely informal team or formal team, from what you have seen, you have now seen that uh, when things get worse, life is not like what it was in the AP. With this officer obviously appearing to be a former AP may lead to credence in the information by Mr. Regardless. Allow me to give my 5 cents opinion. First and foremost, Mr. Regardless uh, is in too much propaganda. And I'm going to explain what propaganda is. But what I'm seeing here is that Mr. Regardless is too much in propaganda, and what I'm seeing from where I am is that Mr. Regardless is very good in propaganda, surpassing Ruto by far. Ruto is trying to play a catch up. By him trying to say that there was 101 APs who were converted to be whatever. Everything that is happening is now walking into the trap of Mr. Regardless. Whether Mr. Regardless is telling the truth or not, I am not capable of knowing if it is true or not. But I'm assuming it is not. And if it is not, then every time Mr. Regardless opens his mouth to propagate, uh, Ruto goes ahead to confirm the propaganda of Mr. Regardless. So if there is such a group, 101 APs, former APs trained and whatever, Murangiri, the name and the looks gives me the impression that is most likely a Mukamba or something like that. So you see, it is near but not completely, because if Rigathi Gachagua is a truthful man and Murangili is in that group, then how comes that a Mukamba, if he is a Mukamba, ends up that way? So we are having such a situation. But then before I'll finish off by saying, talking about, I'll finish off by saying, explaining what a propaganda is. But I want to tell all officers who are in the general duties, irrespective of whether you have spent 15 years in the AP, you know, wiping off 15 years in the AP without going for a conversion course, it is a bit of a challenge. But anybody in the police service, in the informal assignment, this video is for you. You have seen what has happened to Mukwana. You have seen what is happening to Murangiri. So next time you come under a situation where maybe when you come to a situation where maybe it is such thing, just understand that the law covers you only when you obey lawful command. And in Kiganjo, they teach that if you are given an unlawful command, you can refuse, or you can follow the unlawful command at your own risk. Lastly, I want to talk about propaganda. I've said it in other places and I will also repeat it here. Propaganda, it is rare for propaganda to be lies. Propaganda is usually the truth. And the truth, the true story is that it is usually with many stories. Let me give an example of Kenya. Let me give an example of Kenya. Kenya, we have men and women, isn't it? We have men and women. We have young people. We have middle age and we have old age. Now, if you are to take, we have these people in Kenya. I don't know whether in other African countries there are those people. We have people who go around picking people's opinion on events that is happening in Kenya. You would even find in Kenya they are saying, supposing elections are held today, what are your opinion? And then they publish that. We have those groups in Kenya. I don't know whether other countries have, and if other countries have, are they also allowed to talk in political issues? There are some countries which they are allowed to talk anything but not politics. Now, this is how propaganda works. If elections are held today, people between 45 to 65, people between 45 and 65, most of them, let us say, for the sake of this recording, most of them, over 80% would vote for Ruto. Under 20% will not vote for Ruto. Now let us go to Gen C. Gen C. Gen C, 90% will not vote for Ruto. 10% will vote for Ruto. Now, if you want to send a propaganda, which type of propaganda do you want? Are you paid by Ruto or are you anti-Ruto? Now, if you are paid by Ruto or you are sympathetic to Ruto, you'll go out with your papers, look for Kenyans who are 45 years to 65, look for 100 of them. Ask them if elections are held today. You see, those are Kenyans. 80% will say we'll vote for Ruto and 20 will say we'll not vote for Ruto. And another opinion poll that hates Ruto will go to the Gen Z. Will go to Gen Z and ask the same question. Now, this opinion poll paid by pro-Ruto or Ruto sympathetic people will come up with, say, 80% of the Kenyans who are interviewed said that if elections are held today, we will vote for Ruto. And the one which is anti-Ruto or sympathetic to anti-Ruto forces, they'll say we interviewed Kenyans and 90% were anti-Ruto. Both of them are telling the truth. But the issue here is selective truth. That is what propaganda is. Selective truth. If one has got to ask me about Gachagua, I would say that in my opinion is that Gachagua is so much selecting in information that places Ruto in a way that he cannot deny, nor can he accept such. It is such a selected information that it is like what do you call a saw msameno, inakata ikienda mbele na ikirudi nyuma. So if you put it, if Ruto pushes the saw towards Gachagua, it will cut him. If he pulls it towards himself, it will cut him. So he's been placed in such a situation that whether he goes in front or at the back, they still things will turn against him. I would advise in such a situation, if that is the truth, I would advise such a situation the government to ignore Mr. Regardless, because at the end of the day, Regardless is his own worst enemy. He contradicts himself by being showing himself to be very tribal. Thank you.